El poder de audición, el perito para de la tiene.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chai and Biscuits. Firstly, welcome back, Abhishek. Uh, Congratulations on your wedding again.
Thank you so much. Good to be back.
Yeah. So in today's episode, I think we'll go ahead and discuss the most boring time of the season, the international friendlies. But still, since it's right before a major competition, Euros, it's interesting to see how teams lined up and how we think the teams will form or who will be selected, how they will play during Euros. So we thought that will be interesting. So let's dive in. We can start with maybe England. England first. England had two games. One is England versus Brazil at Wembley, and then there was England versus Belgium. So actually, England did not win both the games. They lost 1-0 to Brazil, and they drew 2-2, and that to a last-minute winner, a last-minute goal by Bellingham. So to make it 2-2 against Belgium. So what did you think of the games, Abhishek? Like how did England play? What do you think are their chances?
I think the Brazil game was a back and forth game, and it was high intensity, and it was funny that the game was decided by Endrick, who I think was debuting for the first time for Brazil, and I think I don't know the lineup. I mean the reason behind that lineup. But if I have to start somewhere, I'll start with the goalkeeper. I think I'm still not convinced with Jordan Pickford in goal. I still feel if probably Ramsdale or maybe even Nick Pope should get the chance. And other than that, I think the rest of the team, I think Rohit knows better in terms of how Southgate wanted to line up against Brazil.
Yeah, so sure. I think we can talk about. I think Rohit will be definitely interested to talk about goalkeeper because of the obvious Arsenal connection. So welcome Rohit to the podcast. How did England play?
Hello, everyone. I think that England played as usual. So I think they have really good players. They have a good set of players that is much better than earlier squads. But because of the manager, I think the tactics are sort of regressive. So they're not really as adventurous as these players can be. I'm more interested in England now than I was for the last few years because there are a few more Arsenal players in there. Yeah.
Pragmatic approach, definitely, by Southgate. So if on the for Brazil, right, like their first starting lineup was in midfield, Rice, Bellingham, and Carragher started. Sorry, not
Gallagher.
Gallagher started, and then it's so pragmatic from the beginning itself. And Kane was injured, Saka was injured, so Foden started on the right with Ole Watkins as striker, and he played Anthony Gordon on the left wing. So it was defensive. I'd say it was defensive and it was pragmatic. They did not play that good, and but he switched up on the second game. Like for Belgium game, he started with Kobe Mino instead of Gallagher, and then he played Ivan Toney instead of Ole Watkins. But still, I think he stuck with, I'd say, Foden on the right wing, and he started Bowen on the right wing and he played Foden on the left wing. So that's that was what he tried because Kane and Saka were injured. So, so that's there. So I think the biggest debate will be most of the starting 11 position in England are fixed, especially, but other than midfield, I'd say, because I think the front three will be Kane, Foden, and Saka. Foden on the left and Saka on the right. But the midfield is definitely a position where Rice and Bellingham are definitely starters, but that number 8 position is up for debate. Who do you think should start? Is it Gallagher or Kobe Mino?
I think if he goes with Gallagher, it will become more attacking, and then there'll be only Rice as somebody who has to be the ball winner and somebody who has to distribute the passing and hold the midfield, because Bellingham also, like with his club team, Real Madrid, he always ventures forward and plays a role of, I would say, diamond in the diamond shape. So he's in the, I would say, almost in the striker position. So I feel the midfield will always be empty. So I think Kobe Mino is a better choice to partner with Rice in that regard.
But didn't Bellingham and Rice start as the midfield two for England in the World Cup? I know Bellingham is playing a lot more forward now, but for Birmingham and I think for Dortmund, he used to play further back.
Yeah, he used to play in number 8, but now he's playing as almost a false 9 in Real Madrid.
Yeah,
right. Like, and I don't know how that switch will be, but he's more devastating, I feel, in
the final third. Yeah,
in the final third than number 8.
But there are other players who can play in that position, right? Because there's Foden, there's if you're playing Foden as central in number 10 role, and you're playing a different left wing, then Saka on the right, and Kane as striker. So you're making space for Foden, then Bellingham will play further back. You have to make some sacrifices to fit these players.
But still, I mean, you have James Maddison also who can play in number 10.
Number 10.
But still, I think like our debate in our last episode, right? Can even Rice play as a holding number 6, as a single number 6 in big games? And you are saying on an international level, just Rice is the holding midfielder with Bellingham, who is okay defensively. He's good, but he might be okay. And so Abhishek is nodding his head.
No, he's not good.
He's shaking.
Central. Yeah, I mean, I've watched matches. His tackles and everything are more, not timed, and in crucial moments he kind of loses his temper. So you need
Bellingham?
Yeah. So you need someone who is holding the fort, just like Sandy mentioned, with Rice. And for me, I believe personally, Kobe Mino is a better option. And if you go with the Foden option, like you said, Foden being on as a number 10, then you'll have 4 attackers and 2 midfielders, basically. And that will be, I think, against what Southgate wants. He wants more control. He wants more aggressive tactics, like you said, where it's not more gung-ho type of football. And I think that's what he will go with.
I think so too. So just so guys know, like Kobe Mino was man of the match against Belgium. So he played really amazing. If you guys have time, watch the highlights. And he complemented very well with Rice, I'd say, because he's a number 8. He's like a Pogba, but a very younger version of a Pogba, and has but more aware defensively than Pogba. So. And Eric Ten Hag usually plays him in place of if Casemiro is injured also. So he has that experience of playing in deep defensive roles. So he's very good defensively, but the way he joins, he dribble, like he carries the ball and joins that defense and attack. I'd say he complement very well with Rice. But again, just to remember, he's 18. So. So yeah.
So, are you saying that you next season you're exchanging Kobe Mino with Frankie De Jong?
No way. We didn't get Frankie De Jong, so we made our own Frankie De Jong, I'd say. So this
Yeah,
is
but
fair.
this,
I think. Good. Yes.
yeah, I think the age thing, Saka was a starter in 2020. He was only 18, 19. So I don't think that will stop Southgate from selecting him. What might stop him is if he's too adventurous, like you guys said, like Bellingham and Rice might not work because Rice has to carry everything. That is not something that he might want, Southgate might want, because he wants to be more careful. So he would maybe choose another deep lying player rather than Mino, who is more, like you said, a number 8. So he ventures forward a lot more.
Who is there? So okay, yeah. I think one interesting option he tried, not this time, but the last international friendlies is he played Trent as CDM and Rice as number 8. So Trent was playing as a CDM and Rice, and then you have Walker or Trippier on the right as a right back, right? So, I thought that was also a decent idea. Like Trent can do good playmaking, but I still doubt Trent as a holding number 6, right? I don't know if that will be balanced. It can cause trouble defensively, is what I'm guessing.
But with the Rice, it might work, right? Both of them together.
Yeah, it can. Like, but they don't have experience playing together at all. So other than that one game that he tried, so it can be interesting. Yeah. So for me, I'd say start the game with Rice, Kobe, and Bellingham. 60 minutes. If you're trailing, then get James Maddison in and go attacking. If you're leading, then get Conor Gallagher in and do the defending. He's like all Conor Gallagher does is just run, right? Like I don't run back and forth and box to box, be box to box, and very, very, very like hardworking professional, and that's what he did during Brazil's game also. So until 70 minutes, they were 0-0, and it was the most boring game I've ever seen. But yeah, like you get that defensive stability with Conor Gallagher, but at the same time you can be more exciting with Kobe Mino.
Yep. I do want to ask one thing. Do you think Southgate has the most talented squad any England manager could have, since the time we started watching, to, probably get a Euro? Because, like we already mentioned, he and Rohit also mentioned that some of his tactics are regressive, but he's been in a World Cup semi-final. He lost the other World Cup in what was it, in
quarterfinals.
Qatar.
In Qatar, yeah, quarterfinals.
Yeah. It was a penalty miss by Kane, and then I think Euro finals with Italy. So, do you think he has been doing well, or that's because of his squad, or do you think somebody else could have done better job? Because we had similar golden generation before with Capello and others, and they didn't achieve the results that Southgate did.
Yeah, I for some reason there are like, I think Southgate is lucky. This is my view. I don't rate him that highly, but for me, because yes, he got England to decent positions where previous managers was not able to do that. But at the same time, I also feel they did not face any big games when they reached that final. Like they were big games, but every time. So if you remember Euro final, right? Italy versus England, all England was doing was defending and against Italy. It's not like they did not dominate the game even a bit, maybe the first 10 minutes, that's all. And even Qatar, until they faced France, they did not face any very big game, and they lost against France. So, but for some reason, his pragmatism works for him. Like even during this England-Brazil friendly, right? When he started with Anthony Gordon, who is very good defensively, he started with Gallagher, who's very defensive, and the score was still 0-0, but he made attacking substitutions and they lost 1-0. So, so luck is always towards him, like in terms of making that defensive approach work on the international stage, right?
I think you're right. I noticed that in the Euros, like you mentioned, I think it was more of a lot of penalties, a lot of games went to penalties, and England won on penalties as well. So it was sad that they lost it on penalties at the end. But yeah, I think you're right about that. What do you think?
Well, I think it's true that he's sort of defensive, but you can't really expect much when he has less time compared to club managers. Like what we are expecting is more adventurous play. But I think most managers are sort of defensive. Like we said this even about Deschamps' last tournament when we were discussing it, and he is also sort of defensive because looking at the squad he has, he can be a lot more adventurous too. I think what we're expecting from them might be a bit too much, but the players are there, so we know what we can expect from those players. So that's the reason we are expecting it. But it's understandable that they will be defensive. So whatever he is doing to try to win, in some ways he is lucky, but I don't think he's a very good manager. So the recent rumors about him joining Liverpool is just silly.
I want him to do that.
Because with the limited tactics that he can use as an international manager, he is doing that, and he has been successful using those tactics.
Okay, one last thing before we switch to the next team. What do you think? Who do you think should be the goalkeeper, Rohit?
I think because Ramsdale hasn't played, it has to be Pickford. I think Ramsdale is a much better goalkeeper, but he hasn't played at all. So the thing with goalkeepers is their confidence. So, and especially Ramsdale, he is very confidence-based. So if he has a run of games where he's doing well, then he just gets better and better. But if he makes even one small mistake, it just leads to more mistakes and more mistakes. But Pickford is such a player that however many mistakes he makes, his confidence doesn't change.
That's why I want to try with Pope. I feel he's more level-headed than Pickford. Pickford, I mean, of course, he takes charge and all, but I've seen mistakes from him that are like amazing. So I don't know. I do want to give it to Pope because but Pickford sometimes, his reflexes are crazy, and it's maybe it'll come handy sometimes in those tournaments when you need them. But I think Pope is a much better choice in my personal opinion.
I think Pope is very good, but he's been injured for a long time now. So by the time Euro comes, he might not have played many games, and he might not be match fit.
Yep. Yeah. I think Ramsdale for me, but based on how many games he plays also. Like if he's not in the rhythm, maybe Pickford is what I'm thinking. So, okay. We can go to maybe France. So France is almost like a tournament favorite because they've been in finals. They've won World Cups last time. But I think for the first time, I feel like France is a little weak this time compared to the previous years. But what do you guys think? So they had a game against Chile and they won 3-2. I think they were down. They were down 1-0, but they got up to 3-1 and then it was 3-2. And their starting lineup was in midfield. It was Chouameni, Camavinga, and Fofana played. Their strikers was Giroud again. Giroud was still playing going strong with Mbappe and Kolo Muani on the wings. But you also have Dembele as an option. And you also have Marcus Thuram there, the striker from Inter Milan. And then you have good defense also. You have Saliba, you have Konate, as I think they should be the starters. And you also have Upamecano, and Theo Hernandez on the left and Koundé on right. So it's still a very strong team.
I'm missing Varane.
Varane is retired.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Oh, so Varane and Lloris retired, right?
Yes.
So I think even though Varane is not there, Deschamps recently talked about Saliba, that he does not like the things that Saliba does. Maybe I think he doesn't like the fact that he is too risky with the ball, because he has the ability to play tricks. Like sometimes he dribbles past players, which is something that a defensive manager might not want, right? Like something that, why do you even have to take those risks? So I think he'll definitely go with Upamecano and Konate. That's my understanding.
So they lost. Their first game was against Germany, and they lost 2-0 to Germany. And he started Upamecano and Pavard as centre backs in that game, or Kunde. Kunde also might have played there. But in the second game, he started Saliba and Konate, which they won 3-2. So I think he might have a tough decision to make. But it's so stupid if he doesn't start Saliba. I still feel like he's the best centre back in Premier League right now.
I think there's a shout for that, yeah. I think so.
I mean, this season, Van Dijk is doing very well, for sure. Very close with Van Dijk, but Ruben Diaz is not having a great season. So I'd say like he's at least in the top 2 or 3 in Premier League, and if he's not starting the game, right? So, but yeah, it is Deschamps. Anything can happen.
Yeah, you'd rather have overconfident France in a real tournament than in a friendly. So I think at the risk of not over analyzing what Deschamps did in a friendly in Germany, but I think France have turned out well in all the tournaments since. I mean, a long time after they won the Euros, and even so, I think I have this feeling that Deschamps will have it figured out by the Euros come. Their main problem is, of course, in the midfield. It's not fixed. He's played Zaire Emery. He's played Kamavinga. He's played, I think, who else?
Chouameni.
Chouameni is also.
Germany has CVM, but he's played Rabiot
as well. So
Yeah.
I think he's experimenting these 2 games. And with defense, I think France has a lot of options. The other thing he needs to figure out is his right wing. He's going to go with Dembele or what was the other option?
You have Colomani can play there. But
Yeah.
Also we forgot the main guy who was injured, and Griezmann is there. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think, do you guys think Chouameni, Kamavinga, and Griezmann can handle that midfield? Like, is a strong starting midfield? Chouameni as a defensive, Kamavinga as 8, and Griezmann as 10, like 4-2-3-1.
Maybe a low block and then counter with Griezmann finding the pass for either Mbappe or Dembele to release them in the channels. But I don't know if France is going to go with that kind of playing. But, with Deschamps, you can't. Maybe you'll do that. And, low.
Yeah, they always played low block, I think.
Yeah, I think they don't really have players who to keep the ball and try to progress it slowly. I think they're more quick. So that's why I think that if they are playing Griezmann as a number 10, they will counter quick, because then they'll have 4 as counters. And they don't really have a player who will slow it down and keep the tempo.
Yeah, because I still remember World Cup final against Croatia was still low block and counters, right? But you have
I think they had Pogba then, and
yeah,
was always
Kante,
yeah, and Pogba was playing deep. Kante and Pogba was playing deep, and that's why Pogba and Mourinho fought. He doesn't want to play deep for Manchester United, but he plays very deep for France. is a topic there, but yeah, okay. So, but what do you guys think? Like, France still a very strong contender? They can go to semifinals, similar to the last.
For Mbappe being top of his game, I think they're definitely top 3 for me. For sure.
I think their attack is a bit lacking. Even by, if you remember the last World Cup, they had to just rely on Mbappe's magic in the final. If it wasn't for him, they would have lost by quite a few goals, I think. I think that they would not have, for some reason, they do not really have the same level of playing that these players do for their clubs. So Dembele, Coman, Thuram, even Thuram. Thuram plays so well, but for France, he doesn't really do as well. So I think they will lack in attack.
To be honest, yeah. They didn't get that many chances because he always preferred Giroud, right? And there was, I think last Euros Benzema played, and they lost, right? Like they lost against Switzerland. They lost to Switzerland, if you remember that game. Amazing game. I think Pogba and Mbappe were having Mbappe was having a very bad game, but Benzema and Pogba were having really, really good, was having game of their lives kind of. But they lost attacking too much and they left it open and they lost it at the last. I remember that was last Euros. But yeah, like last World Cup, Qatar World Cup was all Mbappe, I'd say.
I think last World Cup, you have to give credits to Griezmann.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
Well. Mbappe was there as somebody finishing it off, but most of the thing or playmaking was done by Griezmann, and he's definitely underrated for that particular
for his role,
run that France had.
I think, definitely. Mbappe and Griezmann are the only players that they rely so much on. And then the next player is the dependence on the role is much lower, and it's probably Giroud. So I think they're lacking in that sense, even though they have Mbappe.
Yeah, you're saying like
Has Giroud retired yet, or is he still
Played the last game.
he's playing.
Oh, wow. Henry will be proud.
Yeah, I think he started with Thuram against Germany, but he started with Giroud against Chile. So, okay, speaking about Germany, for me personally, I think Germany is very interesting this time after a very long break, right? Like I last 2 or 3 tournaments they did not perform really well, but this time they have a really good coach first, Naglessman, and I still feel Bayern did a very stupid mistake in sacking him, Bayern Munich, and they have an exciting lineup, like especially with Musiala and Florian Wirtz on the wings, and very experienced midfield with Gundogan, Cruz came back, and you have Andrich also. I've seen bits of Andrich, like he's playing very good for Bayern Leverkusen in that holding midfield role. So those three has a very controlling, it feels like a very settled, controlling midfield. Like you can keep the ball for hours.
And you're missing the most important piece of them all, Kai Havertz, and Rohit would be so angry with you right now.
Yeah, I think it's only because of him that they're progressing so well. No, I think the manager is doing really well, and he's following the Bayern's case of using Kimmich as a right back, because I think that's his best position. So I think the players are not really that world class if you consider other squads, but as a team they're doing quite well. Like obviously they have Cruz, they have Havertz, Gundogan, but I think the rest of them they're playing really well as a team. Because even Havertz played as a left back a few friendlies ago, and he performed well. He scored from a left back position.
Left back.
Yeah, I'm just worried about their striking. I mean, except for Kai Havertz, they don't have anybody as a proper striker. Also, their wing backs are not so much well known or well experienced. I mean, they are of course really well established in their club team. That's why they're getting called, but they're not like the world class levels like you have for other teams in Euros. So that's something I think what Nagelsmann has been doing, which Rohit already mentioned. They're playing like a team and gelling so well. So that's kudos to Nagelsmann. And I still believe Neuer should be the starting goalkeeper when he's back instead of Ter Stegen.
He's back, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's playing for, if I'm not wrong, he's playing for Bayern. But I don't know if he's back yet.
You don't want your Barcelona guy to play?
Okay. Yeah, that Barcelona guy needs to retire now. I think it is way past his time. He has made mistakes, a lot of mistakes in Barcelona, of course, but in German, whenever he has done German, uh, you know, uh, jersey, he has done a lot of mistakes, and most of the matches have not been, uh, you know, turned out to be winners. So I mean, of course, Neuer is a legend, and he should definitely be there for at least the last ride.
Yeah, I think for some reason, yeah, I agree with they don't have that much depth and their starting 11 is good, but like when you have, but I still feel they have very settled 11 and Musiala and Wirtz will be devastating. Like they are, I really, really like both of them and they can be devastating on their day. So I still feel Germany as underdogs in this tournament.
Yeah, for sure. And if Wirtz and Musiala are not playing, they have Sane and Gnabry on the other side.
Yeah.
So Sane is also there. He can be devastating on his day as well. So they have really solidified their wings.
Mhm. And Nagelsmann is awesome in playing 4-2-2-2, and he can play that interior number 10s for both of them, and both of them can be amazing in that positions. So I wish one of them comes to Manchester United.
I don't think so. But as a striker, they're not really.
Bayern will agree for. I was saying Bayern will probably agree for Anthony versus Musiala.
Yeah.
I don't think they really have proper depth, like you said, because the other options as striker are Timo Werner, I think.
And that
No. They have they have good striker in. I heard like a lot of good things about Dennis Unda
Okay.
and Fulkerk also. So I think they have 3 strikers, but yeah, like it's not like highly efficient as other teams, definitely.
But they're definitely different profiles, like what Sandy is mentioning. Like Fulkrug is very different to what Kai Havertz is, and Undav is very different to what Fulkrug and Kai Havertz bring. So I think Nagelsmann has different profiles of strikers, which I think not all the teams have. Definitely not Spanish teams or even French. So yeah.
Mhm. And yeah, I mean depth-wise, like so they also have Pascal Krog,
Yeah.
a Brighton midfielder, like but he's leading the assist charts in Premier League now, right? So I think he's on top 3 if I'm not wrong. So and they have Thomas Müller also. So
Still going strong.
it's a decent squad. It's a decent squad, and with good coach.
Yeah, I think
feel like
Nagelsmann might make the difference. Yeah.
go. Okay. Maybe we can go to Spain next. Abhishek's favorite team, probably. I mean, favorite in the sense like he used to always support Spain. So, as far as I remember, from 2011. So,
I used to support Spain because of Xavi and Iniesta. And now I'll probably support because of Pedri, because we had most of our Barcelona representation in Spain. But after Iniesta retired, I switched my allegiance to Argentina, or for Messi, of course. So, because, and now as well, I think when Pedri and Gavi return, definitely Spain. Yeah.
okay. So, going over Spain, they also had a couple of games and very interesting games. They lost 1-0 to Colombia and they drew 3-3 to Spain, in Brazil. I heard it was a very exciting game. So, but like their midfield as usual is still strong, even with Pedri Gavi injured. They have the world's best CDM in Rodri, and like, who can control the play from anywhere. So, but he started with Rodri, Ruiz, and Dani Olmo, and then you have front line of Yamal, Morata, and Nico Williams against Brazil. So Cucurella, Laporte, and Lenormand and Carvajal played in the defense. So what are you thinking, Abhishek? Like what do you think about Spain's chances and how are they as a team?
Spain, I would say under new manager, they're doing pretty well. They won the, I think, last tournament they were in. I'm forgetting the name, but they're still a very, very young side compared to others, and they are not, I would say, battle hardened like France or Germany. Or it's a new crop of youngsters coming in, and the person you said, Le Normand, that's Pau Kubarsi, and he's 17 years old. So yeah, so that match against Brazil, they had Pau Kubarsi and Yamal, like both 16-year-olds, starting their first games for Spain against Brazil. So it's a very young squad, and they're defensively a little bit vulnerable, but they are Spain at the end of it because their midfield is very strong. And if you have Pedri, who's trying to make his recovery by Euro, which will be a little bit difficult, but they still have a chance. Like Rohit said, Germany as an underdog. I feel Spain could be an underdog from my perspective if, of course, Pedri and Gavi get back. Yeah, and they have a really good, reliable striker in Morata who has always performed well for Spain. And their wings are also pretty strong now with Yamal and Dani Olmo. They have always been performing.
So you say,
I think it's the philosophy.
yeah. So you're saying starting midfield of Rodri, Pedri, and Gavi can work, right? Like Gavi has.
Yeah, they did play really well in last World Cup. They missed a lot of chances against, I think, Morocco. It was hard to create because Luis Enrique was a little bit, with it, like he usually does. His decision making was a little bit sketchy in that day against Morocco in Qatar. But if you go with what the new manager is doing, with more open play and more getting into the wingers fast, I think they have a good chance.
Do you think they'll be back, Pedri and Gavi?
Thoughts, Rohit?
Gavi might be back, but Pedri will also be back. I'm just not sure if they will be completely match fit by then.
I think the second game was the starting 11, right? Because the first game he played a completely different 11 except for Laporte. He played Raya as goalie. That's saying something, I think. And Joselu as a striker. I think that they have a good squad, but most of the players are well in their own right. So they're not really up there. So like Germany, like you said, it depends on the structure itself rather than individual players. So they might get far, but I don't think they're really up there as a favorite to win the tournament. That's what I think.
Yeah, very young squad, I'd say. But Abhishek, I think Lenormand is a guy from Real Sociedad as a centre back, and Kubarsi came for Lenormand during Brazil's game, like in 81st minute. But yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
Fabian Ruiz is also playing decent for PSG. So yeah, he had decent games, and I think because of Luis Enrique, maybe like he'll get used to the Spain working style also. So they don't have a left back. Do you think Balde will be back? Is Balde plays for Spain or?
Yeah, he plays for Spain, and Balde is also injured. So yeah, it's Pedri, Gavi, Balde. If they come back, maybe. But it's too early. They're very inexperienced. Only very less people have experience playing in big tournaments. Maybe Carvajal, Rodri, and Pedri and Gavi, who have played in the last World Cup. So it's a very young team. It's very hard to expect so much from them. But they did win a tournament last year. So maybe, it could be a surprise. If they get lucky, like how England got with Southgate with the fixtures, they might go a little bit farther than they should. But yeah, like Rohit said, they don't have it all to win, but you never know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they have a backup in Alex Grimaldo.
Did he play any of these two games?
I think he's moved to Leverkusen now.
Oh, yeah, he moved.
Yeah. Sorry.
He played one of the games, right? Because the other game was Cucurella.
Grimaldo, yes. Yeah. Cucurella played against Brazil and Grimaldo played against Colombia.
Yeah, and I think Pedro Porro and Carvajal played the other two on the right.
Actually, I like Pedro Porro. He's decent, I'd say. Yeah, he's having a very top season with Spurs. He might be like little defensively vulnerable, but still very good attacking.
Yeah. I think so. But I don't think he will start. I don't think he's there unless Carvajal has the injury or something. I don't think Pedro Porro will start.
Yeah, Carvalho is the captain also.
Oh, is he? I thought Rodri was captain.
I think it is Carvalho.
Okay. I think we've covered majority of the teams, I'd say. Yeah, there are Belgium, Amsterdam,
Netherlands.
We think of Amsterdam when we think of Netherlands. So, and then you also have defending champions Italy. So these are the three other teams that it's going to be a very good competition, like very competitive. So very difficult to predict a winner. But if you, but yeah, like go ahead. Like, do you want to talk about anything about Netherlands, Belgium, or Italy?
I think each of these teams are good in their own way because Belgium has done well and they have their golden generation. I know it's going off towards the end by round, but they still have KDB. I think Netherlands also has done well recently.
I think that's a bronze generation, man.
Yeah, they are golden generation.
And Hazard has retired.
Yeah, but Lukaku is still playing.
Hazard has also come up.
Exactly. Tielemans is playing.
And they have Onana as well. I think, I hope he does well. He goes well. He does well because we are scouting him for our CDM position.
I think.
But actually, we forgot a tournament favorites. I'd say my pick
Portugal
is Portugal. I think we forgot we forgot Portugal also. So, but yeah, I think they also had like couple of games, and so just to put it in a brief statement of how Portugal played, they won 5-2 against Sweden. Ronaldo didn't play, and they lost, I think, the next game when Ronaldo started. So maybe that is their that will be their. Yeah, they lost 2-0 to Slovenia, and so that was the game, like with Ronaldo, Felix, and Otavio as starting front line. So, but again, awesome team, I'd say. Like especially against Sweden, they played crazy. Like their midfield was. I thought it was settled. Like the Palinia was a CDM, Matthias Nunes was number 8, and Bruno was also acting at number 8, number 10, Bruno Fernandes, with Bernardo Silva on right wing, Gonzalo Ramos as a striker, and Rafael Leo on left wing. So really strong lineup.
It's amazing with Ruben Diaz as centre back.
And the second centre back is our golden Pepe. Yeah,
that is the golden generation, Rohit. And they have Cancelo as well, right? Did he start those matches? I didn't see.
Against Sweden, he didn't start, but against Slovenia, he started. But Nuno Mendes started only.
Oh yeah, Mendes.
Semedo started. I think he was the man of the match.
But their second squad, which they lost, is still good, I feel, because they did a 3-4-2-1 kind of formation. But so with I was saying João Felix instead of Rafael Leo, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Otavio on right, and you have Cancelo left wing back, Cancelo, Vitinha, Ruben Neves, and Dalot as right back. So. But their centre backs were Pepe, Danilo Pereira, and Inacio. So that's their starting lineup for the second game. So he played like a completely different 11 for the second game. but they still have a very strong lineup. Only weak link I feel is the second centre back, but other than that, they have world class people in all the other positions. So,
What do you think of the manager, Roberto Martinez?
Roberto Martinez, right? So,
From your reaction, I think it's mixed reaction.
yeah, it's a mixed reaction, but again, it's international stage, right? So, you can be like set up your team slightly defensive, and based on the game state, you can change, right? So,
So, mind you, Roberto Martinez was the coach of actual Belgium's golden generation.
yeah.
And now he has a hand on Portugal's golden generation.
Golden generation.
How do you think he's going to fare, Rohit?
I think that he can be quite defensive. We've seen him in England, and he can set up well. So because the players themselves are quite good, I think that they have a chance. But I would say I would put them above all of the other teams that we mentioned in the second phase, like Netherlands and even Belgium, because Portugal has done well, and they do have world-class players in some positions. Ronaldo is still Ronaldo. They still have Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva, and Leao on the left. So I think that they still have a very good squad, first 11. So I think they can reach far, because it's still just Euros, right? So most of these teams will get to the quarterfinals and semifinals.
Okay. Almost end. So if you have to pick one winner, if you have to guess one winner, who do you think it is?
Do you want to go ahead, Rohit, or Sandy? Who wants to take a first pick?
Okay, my instinct is, I think, Portugal versus Germany.
Wow. And not the favorites, neither of the favorites. I think one will be it'll be a favorite versus a non-favorite. So I'm choosing France and Portugal, 2016.
I'm thinking it will be France versus Germany.
Yeah, I think that's a better shot.
I mean, that is a realistic, probably from my point of view, but that won't happen. Could be England as well, you know. Maybe England can creep up. Southgate's luck might be.
His luck with fixtures is amazing.
Might see him in another final.
Yeah, exactly. But again, like compared to France, Germany, and even to a certain portion Italy, like England is more experienced now. England have a more experienced squad. Like they played in last three major competitions. Lot of the players who are already playing now, so relatively new squads for Germany also, and even France, right? They are also rebuilding from after the 2010 World Cup win. So also Chouameni, Camavinga instead of Kante, Pogba. So it should be interesting. But all of them are world class players playing for Real Madrid also. So that's a different thing. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun tournament. We will see how our predictions goes. We will do one more when the competition starts. But we'll go back to Premier League, La Liga, end of the season in the next couple of months.
And also Champions League.
Oh yeah. I don't talk about it because Manchester United is not there. So, but still, yeah, like Champions League also. It's fun, other than if City wins it again. So, but yeah, it'll be fun end to the season. Okay, thanks everyone for listening to the episode. Let us know what you think. Let us know how excited you are for the Euros. We will come back with more episodes.
Yeah, and please let us know what do you think about your finalists and your picks for the finalists for the Euros.
Yep. Until next.
See you guys.
See you.
See you guys.